this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Audit and Finance Committee. Today's date is September something. It's my mother's birthday, September 23rd. I should have known that right away. And so we're glad that you're all with us. Our first order of business is to adopt our agenda. Are there any objections, Commissioner? No. Okay, we'll consider our agenda adopted by affirmation. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the July 30th meeting. Were there any additions, corrections from the minutes, Commissioner?
Not that I'm aware of. Move to approve.
Okay. Yeah, and we can't make motions, but we'll just move through affirmation. Madam Clerk, did we have anybody that wanted to speak to the minutes?
I do not show anyone called in from the public.
Okay.
No.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, then our first order of business for discussion today is the FY19 individual annual audited financial statements and independent auditors reports, which include Wild Spaces, Public Places, the Community Redevelopment Agency, Employees Pension Fund, Police Officer and Firefighters Retirement Plan, and other post-employment benefits funds. So with that, who am I going to here? Ms. Bigby or Ms.
Sure, Mayor. I'd be happy to introduce Barbara Boyd, partner with Purvis Gray, sure. And she'll present the additional external financial statement audit reports. Barbara?
Great to have you back with us, Barbara.
Likewise. Good to see everybody. So I'm going to share my screen and go through all of these reports. Like Ms. Bigby said, I'm Barbara Boyd with Purvis Gray Company, your external auditors. On the call as well as Justin Dansby. He is the manager in charge of the engagement. So any questions, please ask him.
It looks like we're starting off with Wild Spaces. Is that correct?
We are, yep.
Okay.
So we're going to go through the 5 reports. These are the 5 standalone reports. They are actually all funds of the city and included in the main city's CAFR, but these are standalone financial statements for each one. So we'll start with the Wild Spaces, Public Places, and we will move to the independent auditor's report. So I will go in more detail on the first one, and then the other ones we'll just talk about what's specific to those. So you'll see on the independent auditor's report in each one of the 5 that we go through. And the first page will look almost identical, except for the first paragraph that identifies which audit, which fund we are auditing here. So the second paragraph is management's responsibility for the financial statements, describes that management is responsible for preparing the financial statements for internal controls over that financial reporting. The next set of the 3 paragraphs are our responsibilities as auditors. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on the financial statements and to perform sufficient audit procedures to be able to base our opinion on. So moving on to the second page, the most important paragraph you'll see here is at the top of this page, which is our opinion. So on the Wild Spaces, Public Places, you received an unmodified opinion, which is good. It means your financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. That is a clean opinion. In addition to the opinion, there's an emphasis of matter paragraph here, and which you'll see in every single one of these reports, which basically tells you this financial statement is only on the funds specified. So this one is only on the Wild Spaces, Public Places, and it doesn't present the financial position of the city as a whole. One of the things I do want to point out on the Wild Spaces report is that we had a very late issue here. So this should have been replaced on the agenda. Unfortunately, we had a glitch in our system when preparing the final reports that several rows became unhidden. So this is you know, this is our issue. We reissued them this morning, but these rows that are highlighted in yellow were not on the report that was in the original agenda. They were not included in there. So they have been added, so it's correct. The totals did not change. The net change in fund balance is the same and ending fund balances is the same. It was just an issue of some hidden rows previously. And on the balance sheet, it was not a number, but it was this restricted for row was also hidden.
Okay.
One other report that's included in here is the independent auditor's report on internal controls. As you saw with the city's CAFR, this is as part of an audit. We look at the internal control over several financial reporting processes. If there's any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, we disclose them to you. So we did not repeat what was already on the main city CAFR, but there is a reference here at the bottom of the page that says there may have been some of the material weaknesses that were reported on the main financial statements on the city's CAFR may also impact the wild spaces public places. We just didn't feel it was necessary to continue to repeat them. Moving on is the communications with those charged with governance for the wild spaces public places. So this report, we basically disclose information that's significant, that's included in the financial statements. If there were any changes in accounting policies or significant accounting estimates, we would disclose them here. The only thing I do want to point out in this letter is with the corrected and uncorrected misstatements, we did have one material audit adjustments that we proposed and management posted, and that is disclosed here on the last page. It was just an accounts payable that we identified through one of our audit procedures. All right, moving on to the CRA. So again, our independent auditors report, first page looks very similar. Our opinion on the CRAs is again an unmodified opinion. So a clean report there. And you see the same emphasis of matter paragraph. And then the internal control letter, the internal control letter is also included in here. And it's got the same reference to the main city CAFR here at the end. The communication with those charged with governance for the CRA. There is one financial statement disclosure that we consider to be significant, and it's a subsequent event for the CRAs, and basically that they have terminated as of 9/30/19 and are now part of a city department, the GCRA. So the separate entity itself has ceased to exist. And we did have one or two proposed audit adjustments that management posted for the CRA as well. All right, for the employees pension plan, again, the independent auditors report here, first page, very similar. Our opinion on the employees pension plan is again an unmodified opinion. So financial statements are fairly presented. There are two emphasis of matter paragraphs here. So the first one is the one that we've discussed for wild spaces and CRA. The second paragraph is just drawing attention to the COVID-19 pandemic note disclosure. So you will see this in the employee pension plan, the consolidated plan, and the OPEB plan. Because of the significance of investments in those trust funds, we don't know, nobody knows what ultimate impact COVID is going to have on the investments. Currently doesn't seem to have very significant impact, but it's disclosed in there as a potential contingency for the future. So we draw attention to that note. So moving on to the internal control report. Nothing different here other than the spacing, but again, same issue that you saw, same reference that you saw for the other reports. All right, our communication with those charged with governance for the employee plans. There are significant accounting estimates included in these reports, in the 3 trust funds, in the net pension liability and related deferred outflows and inflows of resources. This for your standalone reports is only a note disclosure, but it's still considered a significant estimate. The fair market value of your financials and derivative instruments, if you see in the notes, everything is placed into buckets of level 1, level 2, level 3, with level 1 being the most confidence in the value, the fair value of those investments, and level 3 being the least confident. Those are all third-party evaluations of those fair values, but they are considered significant estimates. And we had no proposed audit adjustments for the employee plan. The consolidated police officers and firefighters retirement plan, again, an unmodified opinion, clean report, and the same 2 emphasis of matter paragraphs that you saw with the employee plan, one being the COVID-19 subsequent events note. And nothing to note here other than the reference to the main plan. There's no separate issues with the consolidated plan. Communication with those charged with governance. Again, you have 2 significant estimates that are included here, the net pension liability, the actuarial assumptions related to that, as well as a fair market value. And we do have 1 significant financial statement disclosure with the consolidated plan, and that is regarding the non-acceptance of the fiscal year 16, 17, and 18 actuarial evaluations by the state. They are, because of issues or concerns that they have with the actuarial evaluations, withholding the premium tax distributions. They withheld it for 2019. And apparently they're withholding for 2020 as well. So there's a hearing on that has not yet happened. It's been stayed due to the coronavirus. And so that is what we consider to be a contingency. So it is included in your financial statements and of note to you. And again, we had no audit adjustments for the employees plan. Or for the consolidated plan, excuse me. And finally, we have the retiree healthcare plan, or OPEB. Again, an unmodified opinion. So that's an unmodified opinion on every single one of these 5 reports. Same 2 emphasis of matter paragraphs. 1 regarding that this is just the financial position of the OPEB plan, and the other regarding the COVID-19 note. The internal control letter is at the back of this report. Same, no separate significant deficiencies or material weakness, just a reference to the main CAFR. And on the communications with those charged with governance, same significant estimates as you saw with the other 2 trust funds. No financial statement disclosures that we thought were particularly significant. And no audit adjustments proposed during the audit. So I'll stop sharing. Happy to answer any questions on those.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Ariola, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I've got one. I don't know, Ms. Boyd, if you're best suited to answer this, or maybe our auditor or attorney. When do we expect to have a hearing and a resolution for the dispute over the actuarial valuations? Because, and just a little context, it's been going on for a long time. And my understanding is, we have a historical average based on our performance that we include in our assumptions, and that's we have historically earned higher than, I guess, what the state believes is reasonable. So we're getting dinged every year on that. And it would be nice just to have a resolution, whether they agree with us that we're making the correct assumptions for us and our plan, or they say no, and we can sort of make the downward and move forward. Ms. Shalley, do you have any clue whether they're going to hear that soon or not?
I do. Actually, we retained outside counsel to represent the city, both the consolidated plan and the general pension. And with the issuance of the pension obligation bonds, the outside counsel reached out to the state, and we've been working on a settlement agreement with the state, because the city will be, the proceeds of those pension obligation bonds will fund a large amount of the difference more than the difference that the state was concerned with. So the settlement agreement, I think we're pretty close to finalizing that. And then going forward, the city will agree to, the city and the state will agree to a certain percentage. So.
Okay, very helpful.
It won't go to hearing.
It won't go to hearing.
Correct.
Okay, that's great news. I'm glad I asked the question. So, Michelle, if you would just send the commission a memo when you reach resolution on that. Will that come back to the commission for any action?
I'm not certain. The city manager's been involved in the process, so I'll leave that to his. We're legal staff. We help out, but ultimately that will come from the city manager and finance staff.
Okay, so Ms. Ramos, if you'll just make a note that I would like and certainly copy the rest of the commission whenever that reaches final resolution. All right, thanks. Thank you, Ms. Shelley. Okay, any other questions for Ms. Boyd? I believe this is the only item we have you with us for, correct, Ms. Boyd? Love to let you get back to work or to your family or whatever you need to do. Madam Clerk, are there any members of the public that are waiting to speak on this issue?
We have one caller. It is a 561 number ending in 3706. But the caller does not have their hand raised. Caller, if you would like to speak to this item, would you please dial *9 to raise your hand? Okay.
She's staff. That's a staff member that wasn't able to get on with Zoom, so she just called in.
Oh, that's a
Thank
staff
you.
member?
Yeah. Sorry, I should have told you that earlier.
Not a problem. I will.
Thank you.
They
There's
did
still
raise their
comment
hand,
on the
though.
item if they'd like. They're just as important a member of our community as
Absolutely. So they, caller, you are able to unmute.
Hello.
Yes, you have the floor.
I apologize. We had staff calling in, and that's not staff.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Poe, Mr. Ariola, Brian O'Brien calling in to ask a couple questions about the, hello?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, a couple questions about Mrs. Boyd's always detailed and professional report. Ms. Boyd, I would like to ask you, can you tell me if the Purvis Gray files for the City of Gainesville annual financial audit contain any information which would be considered exempt from public records request?
Mr. Mayor, would you like me to answer that?
Sure.
Okay. The information that the city has provided us, the work papers that they give us for our audit are, in our opinion, not exempt from sunshine law. Our audit work paper, so the work that we do, that is our own proprietary information.
Your contract spells out that it's public information.
We can continue this conversation at a later time. I think this is probably not the appropriate time to have that conversation.
Did you have any other questions, Mr. O'Brien?
Yeah, I just, you know, I'm reading a contract and Mrs. Boyd's, I'm happy to continue this conversation another time if you'd like to provide the venue, Mr. Poe.
I believe we have your contact information, so we can reach out.
I'll count on that. Thank you, Ms. Boyd.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, if you would just make note of that and arrange for a follow-up conversation.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Between Mr. Bryan and Ms. Boyd, and I would say somebody from our auditor and attorney's office as well. Anybody else, Madam Clerk?
That was the only caller that I see, so I don't believe we have anyone else.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Boyd. Without objection, we will forward all of these auditor reports to the full commission for acceptance.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, next up, we have our audit report on cybersecurity readiness review. Ms. Bigby, welcome.
Mayor, Commissioner Ariola, I'd like to introduce our IT audit manager, Vince Iovino, who led this review and will present the report.
Good afternoon, everybody. Wanted to first just thank the IT staff at GRU and general government for all the help on the report. Over the last 4 years, cybersecurity has really come into focus as more cities have become targets of cyber attacks. In particular, ransomware attacks, where
this
data,
meeting is being recorded.
where it's encrypted, organizations have to pay out to get their data back has increased in the last 5 years from 4% to 61%. And our objectives and scope, our objective was was a review to provide an opportunity to improve the city's ability to identify, assess, and mitigate cybersecurity risks to an acceptable level. With a focus on the city's cybersecurity governance to provide direction, define decision-making procedures, and using standard metrics across the city in which to evaluate the effectiveness of the information security controls. I want to point out that this was a review where we just really, it's a high-level review where we assess the reasonableness of the city's governance controls. For this type of report, on the conclusion, our findings and recommendations, management action plans, and specific security features are not included in this report. And it's based on statute 119.0171 as it relates to revealing security systems issues. In particular, what it states is information related to the security of technology operated by a unit of local government designed to protect the utilities, networks, computers, and programs and data from attack, if disclosed, would facilitate perhaps the alteration, disclosure, or destruction of such data or information. I do want to point out that any findings from this report will be tracked as confidential, but still included in our follow-up process. As far as background, I wanted to just make a note that, use the word ubiquitous, but cybersecurity is everybody's responsibility. Our review was not focused solely on GRU or general government, but more as a holistic overview of the city's IT governance. There are several variants to cybersecurity frameworks, but we chose in this cybersecurity framework due to the 5 functions that, when viewed together, provide a strategic life cycle of cybersecurity risks. And just very, very briefly, the identify is about understanding of systems, assets, and data. The protection function is about safeguards to ensure delivery of these critical infrastructure services. Detect, identify occurrences of cybersecurity events. Respond is about the activities taken regarding a detected cybersecurity event. And recover, about maintaining plans for resilience and the ability to restore capabilities impaired from a cybersecurity event. Our methodology, we're looking at this on a high level. What we also want to make a point is that, there isn't a one framework that one size fits all when managing cybersecurity risks. And in this report and appendix, we introduced the maturity level for focus areas, which is from COVID 2019. And really to put a quantitative measurement on the city's governance readiness. These levels go from 0 being the lowest and 5 being the highest, with 0 really listed as incomplete, which used to be called ad hoc. This represents controls that are least ready and may not achieve the governance objectives, all the way to 5, which is the gold standard, which is optimized and represents controls that we would deem to be most ready to achieve governance. And this would include citywide policies and standards, meeting performance key indicators, and going through a continuous improvement process. In our related facts and figures, I found this, very interesting. I've been out with the city for a year, so I found this really fascinating as far as some of the history on our existing structure here at the city. I also wanted to just point out that as far as in the second paragraph here, that listed these certifications are all part of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity itself, these controls have been around for many years. And the real value of cybersecurity as far as in this is the communication, which leads really towards the governance. GRU also recently, it's great to have this in the report, have had some workshops for cybersecurity under the brand name See Something, Say Something. And in 2019, last year, they were among 50 organizations recognized for their security projects and initiatives. What I'd like to do now is, as far as externally, I'd like to introduce our newest member, Patrick Keegan. He's our senior IT auditor. And Patrick, you would go into this external part about ransomware.
Great, thanks. So in the report, we wanted to give some practical examples of cybersecurity risks. So we researched different Florida municipalities that had been impacted by ransomware and what effects those attacks had on their operations. We found 8 examples from all around the state, including just down the road in Lake City. Every one of them experienced some service downtime due to the nature of ransomware attacks, encrypting data, and preventing anyone from accessing it. Ultimately, over half the cities and counties paid the demanded ransom, and 3 of the cities were able to restore functionality using system backups. But they did, of course, suffer the outages that lasted several days and the additional investigation costs.
Great, thank you. And that's our report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If you could take down your screen. Wonderful, thanks. Ms. Bigby, did you want to follow up with anything that Vince or Patrick shared with us?
No, Mayor, thank you. I don't have any follow-up.
Commissioner, anything from you?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to thank the work of the audit team and really think that this is something that we should keep a close eye on in terms of getting reports back for progress. We seem to have gotten by long enough without these types of procedures in place. So at least from the position of this committee, just that we receive regular reports from our charter officers who are responsible. I don't see them logged into this meeting right now, but I think it will be important that the charter officers report back to us for progress on meeting these recommendations. And they have met them. And so I'd like just for us to receive progress reports to make sure that if there's anything that either this committee or the city commission would need to do in terms of policy direction, that we meet those recommendations in a timely manner. Certainly, it would be undesirable to suffer any type of a cyber attack in the erstwhile period.
Will do. And just as a reminder, Mayor and Commissioner, we'll follow up while the issues are being remediated individually, since they are confidential. And at some point, if they do become public, we would all agree with the management and the city attorney if it was okay to make them public at some point.
Yeah, very good. And I think, just including this as a general item and your quarterly progress update, will be fine because I know it's one of many things that you and the rest of the organization are working on. I know expected timelines, with us. Of course, that can always change if, some of these, tasks prove more challenging than predicted. But I feel good that within a relatively short period of time, we'll be in a very strong position. So I think those quarterly updates would be a perfect place to let us know how it's going. Okay, any members of the public wish to speak to the cybersecurity issue, Madam Clerk?
Okay, looks like Mr. O'Brien is not with us on the call. No, I don't think we have any public waiting.
Okay, so Commissioner, we will refer this to the commission for their review and ultimate acceptance of this report, if there is not any objection from you. All right, very good. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick, I don't think we've met, so hello. It's good to see you and have you with us. And Vincent, thank you for the leadership on the report. Okay, on to our next item. This was a management request for a targeted audit for temporary employment services, or temp force. So Ms. Bigby, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner. Brecca Anderson, our audit manager, will present this memo to management and give you a little background about why we did this project and the scope and approach.
Great, Brecca, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, management, staff, everyone. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, I just first would like to start off by saying thank you to management and staff and everyone who aided with this targeted review. It was very enlightening. Thank you for all of your help during this process. Okay, so if we look at it here, okay, we see that in July 2020, the city manager, he did request this, and we took out the time to familiarize and to gather the data needed to be able to review the invoicing process, okay? So we conducted a targeted review, and this review fulfills two different areas that how the city fulfills their temporary employment needs. One way is directly through the city Human Resources Department, as depicted here in this table, or through a contracted third-party temporary employment vendor. Okay. All right, our internal audit objective, of course, is a limited scope review, was to determine whether temp force invoices were paid timely, accurately, and in compliance with contract terms, and to provide additional statistics around total city temporary employment. On this review, we focused on temp force invoicing and utilization activities for specific periods. So we looked at all the invoices that were paid in June 2020 for GG and for TRU, and we reviewed the invoice payment timing, the billing rate accuracy, compliance with temp force contracts, and other internal city procedures. All right. In our background, we did, pull some information together basically to provide a value add for management. Temp force is the city's largest temporary employment services vendor, with payments exceeding 1.3 million for October 2019 through August 11th, 2020. During that same period, The payments exceeded 2.4 million for the same period for HR direct payments. Okay. The temp force contract commenced in 2008, and we've had some additional, extensions on the contract, and it was set to sunset on September 30. Another extension has been filed until December 2020 to allow time to finalize contracts. A bid has been put back out. Okay. All right. So if we look at our results, look on page 3. If we look at our results, overall, no issues were identified. Rather, we identified a few points of discussion for management's consideration when administering third-party temporary employment services. The first one is the bill rates. The bill rates exceeded allowed amounts. Typically, what we have here, we have the bill rates that are prescripted and described and agreed upon in the contracts. And this is for the temp force contract. And so any bill rate that exceeded $1 above contract, we just identified that, provide that information with management. We found that about 5% exceeded that for general government, none for GRU. And we did provide recommendations, but since these are points of discussion, it's a recommendation for management to consider these improvements, and they're not going to be followed up on. Okay. All right. So the next one was longevity. If we look at longevity, we saw that 46% of temp force employees engaged by the city during fiscal year 2020 through the period that we looked at, which was around August 11th of 2020, that they were in their temporary assignments more than 6 months. We just wanted to ensure, provide this information to management to ensure that departments aren't bypassing HR hiring practices, and which could cause hiring equity concerns. And then the third one was the timeless invoice payments. We found about half of GG's general government's invoices were paid 30 days after the invoice date. And of course, the risk is late fees and things like that. And so we recommend that general government sends the invoices directly to accounts payable. Just change the process a little bit to ensure that it's paid timely. Spoke with the city manager, and they already have that in the works. Okay. And the last one here is improperly supported purchase orders. In this area, basically whenever purchasing or departments, they're putting together the purchase orders to procure these services, is good practice to attach and include things like the job description, things like that. And so they were missing, and the pay plan, because the 2020 pay plan basically dictates what the pay rate should be, and that is dictated for temp force as well as the HR direct hires. Okay, and we did see that on general government side, and that they were missing the copies and the attachments for several of them. Okay, all right, and we do have our audit team listed here on page 4. Okay, so that really concludes the results of our assessment. However, we wanted to provide more of a value add to management. So we pulled together we did some pretty extensive data analytics to display the statistics of utilization across the city. Okay, so chart 1 that we have here, actually charts 1 and 2 compare the number of temporary employees and the amount of temporary employment services spent by fiscal year. So the top trend line that we see here, or the blue line, represents the direct HR direct temporary employment assignments, while the bottom line represents temp force assignments. And what we found is that a lot of these figures, they do include the seasonal summer employees such as lifeguards. Okay, and this includes citywide figures for this period shown here, which is multiple across multiple fiscal years. Chart 2 shows it in dollars, the same data in dollars, and it shows how the city is spending temporary employment funds. Okay. All right, charts 3 and 4 actually display temporary employment utilization by division and type. Division meaning general government, GRU, and the type, of course, that what we have here just shows this expenditures for those years. Okay. All right, the left bar represents general government and the right one GRU, blue and orange respectively. Police temps, the Parks and Rec, that's the next chart. All right, so we're looking at chart number 4. It depicts the same data, but this is through temp force. Chart 3 included City Direct. Chart 4 includes the temp force, temporary employment spend. Chart 5 is a breakdown of information. It's a breakdown of the number of temporary employee assignments we have during the fiscal year. And we're looking at the current fiscal year from October 1 through August the 11th of 2020. We're looking at the City Direct and temp force. And we broke it down by department to provide those figures for management so they can definitely have some assistance in administering this program. Okay. And of course, what everyone probably predicted, Parks and Rec would be highest because of our seasonal employees, our aquatics as well, our lifeguards, and then police temps mainly consist of the school crossing guards and police cadets. And this is for the general government temp employees. Chart 6 is also for general government temp employees, but it shows a total across those 4 fiscal years up year to date, August the 11th, 2020. Okay, chart 7 through 9 focused on longevity. And for this, it shows the temp force longevity. We noted that about half of the employee assignments exceeded 6 months. That's across the city. Okay. Last few charts we have here, charts 10 and 11, just provided some additional statistical management data to aid management, such as the number of the bill rates, talking about the invoices that exceeded bill rates, as well as the number of invoices that were paid after 30 days based on broken down by department. Our final chart here is the citywide temporary employment spend for all sources. Is for a particular period, specified periods. It shows the information, shows a snapshot of temporary employment spent across those times. Okay. All right, thank you very much. That's actually the end of our audit report. Thank you so much. I'll hand it back off to Ms. Bigby, our city auditor.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Ms. Bigby.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all we have for that particular project.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ariola?
No question.
Nothing. Ms. Bigby, or maybe Ms. Ramos as well, has management agreed to work towards the recommendations found in this report, or has it not reached that stage yet? For example, sending invoices directly to, who are they recommending? Purchasing?
Accounts payable.
We are working towards that now.
I'm sorry, Ms. Ramos?
We are working towards that now.
Okay. And was it your opinion that all of these 4 modifications would be implemented? Ms. Ramos?
Sorry, I was having internet connections. Still working through those with the city manager. So as soon as we have more direction from him, we will update you all on which ones will get implemented.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I would hope that we'd have that report just as far as what modifications will be adopted and are working towards implementing at our next audit and finance.
Noted, and we'll have that ready.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And so we'll accept this report, and so we'll await a follow-up at our next meeting. Any members of the public, Madam Clerk, to speak to this item?
We have no callers at this time.
Okay, very good. Then we will move on to our next item, which is the quarterly update. Ms. Bigby.
Thank you, Mayor Poe, Commissioner Ariola. Let me maximize this if I can. It hides. Oh. It's hiding my, there. Is my screen maximized for your view?
No, you've got the split screen on it.
Okay. Let me stop sharing for just a second. Okay. Haven't shared the PowerPoint before. It hides your menu. So let's try that again. Okay. So I've maximized my screen here. If I go to slideshow, it seems to jump to another screen. Does anybody have a tip on how to keep it here? Otherwise, I can just keep this part small and it should still work.
I know hitting F5 generally puts it into presentation mode.
Okay, I'll try that right now. Sorry, it puts it on my other screen. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's giving us presentation view.
Okay. Is this large enough for your view to see it well?
Yeah, it is, Ms. Bigby. I think that's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, flip through the first couple of slides, and we'll start with our work in progress. And I think I can make this just a little larger. There we go. One project we have in progress is our general government financial reporting process review. And we agreed with management, a collaborative review, to come up with a CAFR timeline. So Ms. Ramos has created that, identify a few processes and controls that would be in place, at what time that they would be in place. Then we agreed the internal audit would perform 2 walkthroughs to make some sample selections of some of the controls that would be completed based on the timeline. So we did perform 1 of 2 walkthroughs, and we did see management's progress. They have reconciliations in progress. They have created their timeline and assigned tasks and due dates. They're preparing for the external auditors to begin work in October. We will perform our second walkthrough in November and then create a memo to sum up our review for the December 8th Audit and Finance Committee meeting. Okay, the next project that we have in progress, I'd like to have Brecca Anderson speak on the grant administration audit that's been on the audit plan for a while.
Well, now we are approaching the grants administration project in 2 parts. First, we will provide an advisory service for general government grants administration and ERP readiness. Later on in the fiscal year, we're going to conduct an audit of GRU grants administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. We also have general government investments audit in progress. Eileen Marzak will speak to that one.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this is general government investments. This will focus on non-pension investments. So there's some operating surplus funds, and we have a cemetery trust fund, and we now have a hedging fund. So we will be focusing on that. We should have our field work done probably by the 3rd week in October, and this report should be presented to you at the November 16th Audit and Finance Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marzak. Thank you. Mr. Iovino will speak to the Gainesville Fire and Police Emergency Response Times, which was also on the audit plan for a while. Mr. Iovino.
Sure, thank you. Just briefly, it's looking as far as reviewing response times as they relate to both department policy and goals, local and state federal laws and regulations. And just very briefly, we've started our pre-planning process, and we'll be reaching out to both police and fire chiefs. And in order to gain an understanding of the response times processes, maybe perhaps identify some trends and how we can best add value. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iovino. And then finally, in progress is our internal audit annual audit plan update and enterprise risk assessment. So we begin scheduling some meetings with some of you. We'll continue our scheduling, and this will be about an 8-week long effort. And it's to make sure we understand the services and activities across the entire city and identify those highest risk areas, gain a general understanding of the control environment, governance, risk management capabilities, and then we'll come up with a subjective scoring system. It doesn't have to be super formal, to be able to identify those highest risk areas that would benefit from internal audit activity, whether it's audit or consultation or some other project. We also input, when we've had investigations, we identify control deficiencies that allowed something to go wrong. We make sure that those items are also tracked so that we do put our efforts in the places that are most needed. We'll circle back with senior management and city commission to make sure that everyone has had an input in how we prioritize our projects. And we will present this report to you December 8th as an annually updated audit plan. And the intention next year is to have an agile audit plan so that when there are changes or emerging risks, we can add new audits and just change the priority as circumstances change. And we would do that at the Audit and Finance Committee meetings. Okay. This is just a list of upcoming audits. Again, we have projects that will keep us busy through the end of November, early December. A few of these will be started, and then the remaining ones will be reprioritized with the addition of new audits. So everything will be level set for the December 8th presentation. We have a slide for completed audits since the last Audit and Finance Committee meeting. The fraud hotline and investigations, we have 2 open investigations, so we're making pretty good progress on those. Some, as I mentioned, I think last committee, some reports belong to the Office of Equity and Inclusion or might be HR. So if we do get a report from those offices, we pass them along. And then likewise, if they have a fraud report, then they turn it over to our office. Okay, and then audit issue follow-up. I'd like to have Ms. Anderson speak to the audit issue follow-up program.
Thank you, Ginger. Okay, as you're aware, we implemented a new audit issue follow-up program earlier this year to track and facilitate open audit issues. Overall, our process is shown here, depicted here in this chart. As audit, we work with management to capture an action plan for identified issues and to establish due dates for each issue. Now, some of the audits, we did come back and we looked at the risk from some of our existing audit issues that were open to ensure that we are approaching it to see if any improvements were made. The next step is that management would remediate the issue, and as audit, we would validate the evidence to determine if remediation is sufficient. If it's sufficient, we complete the validation testing. If the remediation is not deemed sufficient, then we request additional documentation from management. And as depicted by our flow chart there, we'll kind of continue to do that until we get sufficient support evidence. And then once it's validated, our audit management closes the audit issue. Now, previously, we didn't have a past due dashboard, but now we're communicating with management to establish due dates. As of this date, we don't have any past due audit issues, open audit issues. We're working with management to reassess the risk and controls and close the issues as they are implemented. Okay. Right now, we have closed 11 audit issues, open issues since May 2020 Audit and Finance Committee meeting. We have 26 issues remaining open, and we are working on those with management. A total of 15 have been closed since we initiated the follow-up program. Okay. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, the 3 older audit issues we do have in the appendix, the audit issues that are listed, and I'd like to just discuss the 3 older ones. Okay. The first one is GPD Property and Evidence Section Cash Procedures. Looking at the cash procedures, we've been working diligently with GPD. We've been meeting with them, and they've been meeting with finance and to ensure that we establish proper controls over cash. This audit issue due date, we got together, talked about it. We're looking at March 31st of 2021. The second one is fleet operations, industry standards and goals. We're working with management on this one as well to obtain additional documentation to ensure that all the risks have been addressed. This one is very close to being closed, and we anticipate this one closing within the next few weeks. The third one we have is also with Gainesville Fleet Operations. This is more of an IT area, application management and stewardship. Fleet just implemented a new software last week, AssetWorks, and our IT audit team began reviewing the information system controls on last week, and we are resuming on next week to assess the access controls in the system controls. Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. So I just wanted to highlight what Ms. Anderson said, no past due issues, but we do have older audit issues. So as a reminder, we implemented our new audit issue follow-up process, which was depicted on this slide. But then we communicated it to management. We reviewed the older issues with them. Then we established due dates of 1 year or less. So if those due dates ever are exceeded, then they would be reported to you as past due. And going forward, all new audit issues always have an accountable party, a responsible party, and then a due date, typically 1 year or less. And then, unless there's some extenuating circumstance that we agree to, it's unlikely, but the audit issue due date could be extended. Otherwise, the issue would just be reported to you as overdue until it's been remediated. Okay. The status of external audits. So these are any audits that we're aware of that are being, that the city is undergoing. Right now, the fiscal year 20 external financial statement audits are beginning or will begin soon. So that's for GRU and the general government. The Florida Auditor General is performing a 2020 operational audit. It's in progress. They're wrapping up fieldwork this month. They're beginning to summarize results with management and will be preparing their report. They don't have a due date of the report, but we expect late fall or towards the calendar year end that the report might be ready. The Florida Office of the Inspector General Florida Retirement System Compliance Audit has been on hold. It should resume sometime this year. And they put it on hold given the operational audit we were undergoing with the Auditor General. So it gave finance a little reprieve because they've been extremely busy. We are here. The external financial statement audit findings. We don't update these slides unless there's been a new annual audit report. So Greg Robeson, our senior auditor, will talk you through the next 3 slides. Greg, you might be on mute.
I was. Trying not to get you back, Pete. As we just discovered, the CAFR was done earlier this year. It was issued, and they did find 3 items that were continuing on from 2018. Bank reconciliations not being completed. Several accounts were materially misstated, and then segregation of duties. All of these items were rolled over from 2018, 2019. We do not clear those, as Ms. Beebe mentioned. That'll be cleared by the financial statement auditors when they complete their audits next time, if they are completed. Next slide. The other items here, these are the items that just went over by Purvis and Gray earlier today. We didn't have the completed audits on these beforehand, but we will show these as completed during the next update. GRU's financial statement audit completed, did not have any other type of internal control or any other items to report. That's all I've got, Mr. B.
Thank you, Mr. Roberson. And that concludes our city auditor update. Mayor and Commissioner, if you have any questions, we'll take them now.
All right, Commissioner Ariola, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Just really appreciate the the team coming together and getting this done. I've seen nothing but great things so far under Ms. Bigby's leadership, so very happy to see that, and the whole team deserves to hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no past due audits is a big accomplishment. That was, I know, first milestone in trying to clean up some of these audits that have been hanging around out there. And then besides everybody within the organization being thrilled about the first item you discussed with preparing the financial statements, I know Purvis and Gray will be thrilled with that as well. And it sounds like we're off to a good start in making sure that we're going to set up a timeline that's achievable and still allows us to do thorough work, not be under that sort of last minute strain. So thank you for everybody involved in that, and it'll be a much, I think, less stressful year this year as we get close to our deadline. It will be turned in and dusted by the time that date rolls around in midsummer. So thank you everybody that has been helping with that. Madam Clerk, are there any members of the public that wish to speak to the quarterly update?
I see no callers at this time.
Okay, so we will accept the quarterly update and forward it on to the City Commission for their review at the next available meeting. Okay, our next item on the agenda is general public comment. Madam Clerk, anybody here for general public comment?
I do not see any callers for general public comment.
Okay, member comment. Commissioner Areola, any member comment?
No additional comments, Mr. Mayor. Those were pretty comprehensive items, all of those very important. So glad to see the city moving in a positive direction on the financial side.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much. And thank you for both the thoroughness and succinctness of the report. Both are appreciated greatly. With that, we have reached the end of our business. So our next Audit and Finance Committee meeting, I believe, will be November 16th. And so we will welcome everybody back for that meeting. And until then, everybody stay well, stay healthy, and we will see you all on the 16th. This meeting is adjourned.